What if the persistence of stubborn belly fat has less to do with self-discipline, dietary plans, or even caloric intake, and is instead determined by a single moment that most individuals overlook? For many years, the prevailing wisdom has been that weight loss is simply a matter of arithmetic, calories consumed versus calories expended. The idea was to eat less and move more, and the problem would resolve itself. However, if this were entirely true, a significantly larger proportion of the population would already be slender. Modern metabolic research is subtly revealing a flaw in this long-held belief, and once you recognize it, it becomes impossible to ignore. Your body functions not as a calculator, but as a rhythmic, time-driven biological system designed to adhere to patterns that predate gymnasiums, food tracking applications, or late-night snacking. When these inherent patterns are disregarded, the body doesn't overtly revolt. Instead, it adapts. It decelerates fat burning and safeguards stored energy, particularly in the abdominal region, without requiring your conscious consent. Here's the critical point many people miss. Fat loss doesn't falter during the day. It falters at night. It fails within a crucial, narrow window when your hormones dictate whether your body will dedicate the subsequent hours to repair, combustion, and reset, or to storage and defense of its existing reserves. By the conclusion of this discussion, you will fully grasp what this window is, why a seemingly minor habit can completely disrupt it, and how synchronizing with your body's intrinsic clock can transform your fat loss experience without adding extra effort to your daily routine. If you've ever felt frustrated by a plateau on the scale or an unchanging waistline despite diligently following all the rules, there's something vital you need to understand. This is not an issue of discipline. It's not because you are lazy, inconsistent, or lack motivation. Your body isn't malfunctioning, nor is it working against you. It is operating precisely as it was designed to. The human body evolved to thrive in an environment defined by light and darkness, activity and rest. Long before food was continuously available around the clock, your metabolism developed an ability to anticipate when energy would be supplied and when it would not. When these expectations are met, the system functions optimally. When they are ignored, the body quietly shifts into a protective mode. Fat burning diminishes, storage becomes paramount, and this occurs automatically, beyond conscious control. This explains why simply eating clean or reducing calories often ceases to be effective after a certain period. Your metabolism doesn't solely react to food, it also responds to timing, and when food continues to arrive late into the evening, your internal clock never receives the signal to switch modes. The issue isn't necessarily consuming too much. It's that your body never truly experiences a break. This crucial shift begins at a moment so common it's easy to overlook. It occurs when you finish your final meal of the day, not when you fall asleep, and not when you awaken, but when your body finally registers that no more food is entering the system. This isn't about a magical hour or a rigid rule. It's about providing your metabolism sufficient quiet time to change gears. When eating concludes earlier in the evening, digestion gains a head start on completing its task. Blood sugar levels rise, insulin performs its function, and then, crucially, it gets the opportunity to subside. This interlude between your last bite and bedtime is where the trajectory is determined. If food continues to arrive late, the system remains occupied. If it doesn't, something entirely different begins to unfold. This doesn't imply that everyone must cease eating at the exact same time. Bodies are unique, and schedules vary. What matters is establishing a consistent buffer, several uninterrupted hours during which your body is not processing new energy. This buffer acts as the connection between your habits and your hormones. Once it's established, the rest of the night ceases to work against you and quietly begins to work in your favor. Once that final meal has been consumed, your body transitions into a brief but crucial phase. For the next few hours, digestion remains active. Glucose circulates through your bloodstream, and insulin steps in to direct that energy into your cells. This is normal and healthy. The problem isn't insulin itself, but how long it's compelled to remain active. Insulin has a secondary role that most people are unaware of. It's a storage hormone. While it is elevated, fat burning is essentially paused. Your body will not access stored energy as long as new energy is still being processed. Consequently, if food continues to be introduced late, through late snacks, desserts, or even healthy nighttime bites, this pause extends. Fat burning remains inhibited, sometimes well past midnight. But when eating ends earlier, insulin is finally able to clock out. Blood sugar levels normalize, and the system calms down. This is the precise moment the body shifts from consumption mode to maintenance mode. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, yet metabolically, it's profoundly significant. While most individuals unknowingly prolong this phase with late-night eating, your body is preparing for an entirely different function. As insulin levels decline, another signal begins to emerge, and this signal doesn't merely influence sleep. It dictates how your body manages energy for the remainder of the night. As the night progresses, another hormone quietly enters the scene. Around the time that lights dim and the day draws to a close, your brain starts releasing melatonin. Most people recognize melatonin as the sleep hormone, but that is only part of its function. Melatonin also reconfigures how your metabolism operates after dark. Here is the critical detail almost never discussed. Melatonin and insulin were never intended to be active simultaneously. From an evolutionary perspective, eating was designed to occur during daylight hours, while nighttime was reserved for rest, repair, and conservation. Therefore, when melatonin levels rise, it sends a clear message to the body: slow things down. Insulin sensitivity naturally decreases, making your system far less efficient at processing incoming sugar. This is where late-night eating subtly backfires. When food is introduced during this window, insulin must operate against this natural tendency. It moves slower, blood sugar lingers for longer, and inflammation rises just enough to be significant. Ultimately, that excess energy is redirected to the most accessible storage location, the deep abdominal fat that your body prefers to protect. However, when eating concludes earlier, this hormonal conflict never arises. By the time melatonin levels are high, insulin levels are already low. The body is not confused or stressed. It is aligned. In this state, the night transforms from a metabolic liability into a powerful advantage. By the time midnight arrives, a significant change has occurred. You haven't consumed food for several hours. Insulin has receded to its baseline levels. The signal to store energy has vanished, and for the first time since dinner, your body is free to access what it has been holding on to. This is the moment most people never reach. Not because they are incapable, but because late-night eating quietly postpones it night after night. When insulin levels remain low for a sufficient duration, the gateway to your fat reserves finally opens, and your body doesn't simply target any fat. It prioritizes visceral fat. This is the deep fat accumulated around your organs, the type most strongly associated with insulin resistance, heart disease, and metabolic dysfunction. It is dangerous, but it is also highly active. Your body is eager to utilize it when conditions are favorable. Without incoming glucose from the stomach, your liver shifts its operation. It begins converting stored fat into usable energy, producing ketones that sustain the smooth functioning of your brain, heart, and lungs throughout the night. This is your internal furnace activating. While you are asleep, your body is quietly fueling itself from the very tissue most people struggle to lose. But this process is fragile. A single late-night snack can completely shut it down. If insulin levels rise again, the door closes, the furnace never ignites, and the opportunity passes until the next night. Between approximately 2 o'clock in the morning and the early hours before sunrise, the body enters a state that most individuals rarely experience consistently. Insulin levels are low, digestion is quiescent, and the nervous system has finally de-escalated. This is when fat oxidation becomes remarkably efficient, not due to effort, but because there are no obstructions. During this window, your body is not distracted by incoming food or conflicting signals. It is focused on maintenance, repair, and energy balance. Stored fat becomes the primary fuel source, especially the fat that is most readily mobilized. This explains why individuals who align with this rhythm often observe changes in their midsection before any other area. The body leverages the metabolic advantage where it is highest. It is crucial to understand what enables this window. It's not merely ceasing food early, but the combination of earlier eating, sufficient sleep, and a tranquil nighttime environment. When stress is lower and light exposure is reduced, the hormonal signals naturally synchronize. Nothing needs to be forced. Most fat loss strategies fail because they entirely disregard this phase. They concentrate on willpower during the day and overlook what occurs when the body is finally left undisturbed at night. This window is not about doing more. It's about not interrupting what your biology is already prepared to accomplish. As this overnight window continues, another potent signal quietly ascends in the background. Human growth hormone, or HGH, begins to increase. Most people associate HGH with youth or muscle growth, but its true significance manifests here. HGH is a preservation hormone. It instructs your body what to protect and what to utilize for fuel. When insulin levels are low, HGH conveys a clear directive: do not burn muscle, do not break down vital tissue, use stored fat instead. This is why short overnight fasting windows, created simply by eating earlier, are so effective. They permit HGH to perform its intended functions: repairing tissue, strengthening bone, supporting skin integrity, and directing energy utilization toward fat rather than lean mass. This also explains why mornings can feel different after such nights. People often wake up feeling slightly firmer, lighter, or more defined. That feeling you experience isn't dehydration. It's your body undergoing a process of remodeling. For hours, your system has been reallocating resources, eliminating inefficiencies, and reinforcing its most vital functions. Nothing drastic has occurred. No calories were cut, and no extra workouts were added. Your body simply had sufficient, uninterrupted time to complete the essential work it constantly strives to do. By morning, your body is in a vastly different state than if you had eaten late into the night. You've gone 12 or more hours without food, yet something remarkable happens. You aren't plagued by hunger. That desperate, urgent need to eat simply isn't present. This is because your hunger hormones respond to rhythm, not to chaos. When your body anticipates a reliable pattern of food cessation at night and resumption in the morning, ghrelin, the hormone that stimulates hunger, stabilizes. Your system trusts that energy is available because it has been utilizing stored fat throughout the night. There's no emergency signal, no metabolic alarm. Concurrently, your insulin sensitivity is at its peak. When you do eat, your body is prepared. Nutrients are absorbed efficiently, and blood sugar is managed smoothly. You are no longer battling your metabolism, you are cooperating with it. Even processes like cellular cleansing and repair have had ample time to operate, eliminating the remnants from the previous day. The outcome is not just improved fat loss, but also a sense of calm control that extends throughout the day. Achieving this doesn't demand perfection, challenging discipline, or drastic changes. It works best when it feels almost effortless. If you find mental hunger emerging late in the evening, begin with something simple. A cup of caffeine-free herbal tea can be very effective. Its warmth mimics the sensation of eating and helps calm the nervous system without stimulating insulin. Light plays a more significant role than most people realize. Bright overhead lights late at night send the wrong signal to your brain. Dimming the lights after evening hours supports melatonin production and helps your body naturally transition into its repair phase. You're not forcing fat loss, you're simply removing obstacles. If stopping earlier initially feels difficult, don't rush the process. Shift gradually. Try moving dinner back by 30 minutes for a few nights, then another 30. Your body adapts more quickly than your mind might expect. Consistency is more important than adhering to a precise time. This isn't about restriction. It's about creating enough quiet space for your biology to complete its work. Once this rhythm is established, everything else begins to feel easier.